Hey guys, welcome back to Motsa and another episode of Small Talk. Today we're actually going to Belfast and we're going to be we're going to have a small talk, we're going to have a conversation with a fantastic creative up there. This guy I've been following on Instagram for the past couple of years. Stuff's unreal. So I'm actually so excited for this one. I'm really excited and to see what he's got to say, what he's been doing this past few months and what he's doing in general. So yeah, please enjoy this here, be inspired, because I know I'm gonna be inspired. Throwing big hopes on him, but you know, I'm just so excited for this here. So yeah, I hope you enjoy this video, and yeah, that's it. Mate, happy to be with you here. Just wanted to introduce yourself to everyone, tell us who you are.
Sweet, yes, happy to be here as well, mate, yes. So my name is Calvin Craig, I'm 26, I'm living in Belfast here, and I'm working part-time in a church called Rehope, Belfast, so I look after all their church online stuff. Alongside that there, I work part-time in a charity called Made for More, and I do a wee bit of freelance on the side, do a wee bit of wedding photography as well.
Unreal. And what is it you really do in Rehope? Like, what's your main job role over there?
Yeah, so my job at Rehope's probably just videography. A wee tiny bit of design work, but mostly videography. So helping the church get online, working with the team there, videoing the service, editing it, scheduling it. And then back when lockdown was a wee bit eased, we were live streaming. So I was learning a wee bit about that there. I was looking after live mixing and stuff like that there. So yeah, that's my job there.
What is it you were kind of like really specialise in? Like, what's your main focus? Photography, videography, just the behind the scene work of live stream stuff, or what is it you really go for?
Yeah, so funny, like I've a bit of everything really. I graduated from university 3 or 4 years ago in graphics design, but my main actual job at the time was photography, so I graduated and just freelance for a couple of years. Always knew a wee bit of videography, but didn't really take my videography seriously until I got more planted into the church. I actually started working in a different church in Belfast and learned how to do a wee bit of editing and filming. But yeah, my main thing would have been photography, and then as of recently, it's just been flat out videography, just church online, getting content outline and stuff like that there. So I'm still learning it, but I'm really loving it, yeah.
So good. So at the start of the pandemic, when all churches were kind of forced to go online, how did Rehope what was their first step of going online? Like, what kind of gear did you use, or was it easy, difficult, or?
Yeah, well, it was quite tricky at the start. It's actually, I've only really been on staff, I've only been working with Rehope for about 7 months now. So right back when they started in the pandemic, they had a couple of guys went to the church, really creative. But they're all full-time, they all work full-time, they're parents, some of them are living up north and stuff. So they had a good team of guys there who would just bring in their own gear, so we just shared around their gear. So we started off with a couple of wee Sonys and had a couple of GH5s, and there was one guy, Sam, went to the church, and Sam would have edited the stuff, so Josh would have shot it, our pastor Josh would have shot the stuff at home and then sent it to Sam. We transferred it to him, right, and Sam would have edited it. But then as time went on, I jumped on board. I'm only in part-time, but they had a wee bit of a budget to play with, so we came up with a couple of cameras and we invested in a couple of Blackmagics and bought a wee A10 Mini, so it's like the wee desk for mixing. And then just bought a couple of wee mics. Lighting has been a big thing recently as well. So yeah, we just adjusted as time went on. But yeah, I think at the start, the church, which was really good, they did have a bit of a budget, and they just says, look, what do we need to nail this? What do we need to do this well? But also, how can we use this equipment in 4 years' time? So the cameras we got are very, very good for streaming. So, they're cracker for pre-recording stuff, editing and all, it's brilliant, really good footage, but they're very good cameras for streaming as well. So we're always going to get our use out of them in the future as well. So
some churches, like, they think of the now and here, yeah. And so they'll say, like, right, we've got a couple grand, let's just buy cameras, the cheapest ones we can get, just so we can do this for now, yeah. And they don't really think about the future, yeah, and how it's going to last them. What's the what camera gears would you say it's more future-proof for the next upcoming years, and even post-pandemic and stuff? Like, what's your personal view on what would be a good investment for camera gear?
Well, I think you nailed it there, actually. I love what you said. Like, a lot of churches' approach to this is just hang in there, we're nearly through this, we'll be back to meeting soon. And I love being in the room, I love being there, corporate worship, being in the space. But I think if we care about church online, if we care about church in the future, we're going to have to care about church online. Yeah. So you've just nailed it there. It's not just buying stuff to see us through, it's actually investing this now, because I think church online's here to stay. So yeah, like practical gear, yeah, so our church, we're investing in a bit of lighting, but we're thinking, right, this light, if we buy this light, it'll be great for pre-recorded stuff, but you know, in the future we'll be able to use this in like a podcast setup. Our cameras were the same, that's why we went Blackmagic, because I think they've been around for a wee while. Blackmagic 4Ks, reasonably priced for their body, but got one nice wide lens and a nice wee close-up lens. Not crazy money, but stuff that we can use in a setup years down the line. And it shoots 4K as well, so you can shoot it raw and stuff like that there. So yeah, the Blackmagic's what we use, but I suppose any really camera that, I don't know, like has a wee bit of future, can be used down the line. Yeah, but I like that approach. Like, it's definitely here to stay. So invest in good stuff that you can use in the future. I think that's very important.
100%. And you kind of touched on it there as well. Like, where do you see online church post-COVID or post-pandemic? Is it going to be the same? Is it going to be most stuff online church, or are we still going to go straight back to buildings? Or what's your kind of view on that there?
It's a really interesting question. It's something I think about and chat to my friends about all the time. And my line manager in work, actually, a guy Steve Mays, is really, really good, and we kind of work things out like that there. But yeah, like I definitely, like as I say, I think like some churches' approaches to this is just hold on, we're nearly through it, but I really think church online is here to stay. I think it just works for certain people. I think there's like a lot of people that, you know, they're engaging with their church online. They're not just consuming it, but they're buying into it. You know, the churches, it's different. They're in their living room, they're watching church, but they're still contented, they're still there, they're still worshiping, they're still engaging, they're still chatting online. Zoom's a massive thing. So I don't think that's going to go away for a wee while. Even as things ease up, I think just as time goes on, I think people are, you know, some people, this works for some people, and some people are really comfortable with this.
So what's the best advice you can give to a small church or a church who's kind of getting their foot into online church but doesn't really know how to progress in it?
Yeah. A good quote I actually thought of was the message never changes, but the method has to. So sometimes I look at some smaller churches who are so faithful in their teaching, who have a great wee community, and I think of my parents' church, who's a church up towards North Coast, small wee church, but like faithful church. Mum and dad are members of that, but the way they're doing church online, it's just like they're not really investing in it. I don't think they're doing it well. I think they'd be doing it way better. But I think with that comes personnel. So I think if there's smaller churches out there, I think it's get the younger guys in who maybe know how to use cameras. The best camera is the one that you know. You can spend money on all this equipment, but you actually just need to know what you're using. So whether you use a base entry level camera, a DSLR that's your dad's or your granddad's or something, if you just use that well and light it a certain way, get your audio good, you can do stuff really, really well. You don't need to invest in serious gear, but you just need to know the gear that you're using. So that's my advice.
And I'll go for the last question here, man. Where do you see yourself, even this 2021 or over the next couple of years, post-pandemic and with online church? Where do you see yourself personally?
Yeah, like for me, like I love photography, I love a wee bit of design. I shoot some weddings and I do stuff there, which is great. I really do enjoy them, but I think my heart really beats for church online. It really beats for creativity in the church, doing stuff well. I think as time goes on, we can see that. Like I see it with you guys. I see, you know, Josh behind the camera, nailing their craft, doing church really well, wanting people to stop and watch church. We're in a real unique scenario right now with church online, where you can watch so many different people's churches online. So when you're scrolling through Facebook on a Sunday, maybe you've never been to church before, and you see something and you see, this is done really, really well. I think people stick about. So yeah, I just want to be involved in that in some capacity. I don't know how that looks. As I say, I work a wee bit with a charity as well, and we're putting content out online. We do a lot with like mental health and young people in Northern Ireland, and we're sticking out podcasts and stuff like that there. I love that type of thing, so I think for the future, for me, I'd love to be involved in that in some capacity.
So good, man. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
No problem at all. Thanks for having me.